Hi, I'm Jack, and welcome back because here I am going to give you guys a review of the fifth installment in the iconic horror movie series Scream, and this movie is, of course, called Scream. So, before we get started, don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below at the bottom of the screen and in the description below, so don't forget to do that while you're at it. And this is a non-spoiler review. I'm not going to bring up any spoilers about this movie in any shape or form unless it's in the trailer. So if you have a fear about that, have no worries. That is not going to be happening here. And with that said, let's get started. Set 25 years after the events of the first Scream, it follows a new group of characters alongside characters like Sidney Prescott, Gale Weathers, and Dewey as they must return to Woodsboro as a new killer dons the Ghostface mask and begins targeting a group of teenagers, and they must put Ghostface down. Just to make things easier for clarification, I am just going to refer to this movie as Scream 5 because it's the fifth movie in the series and because I don't want to get people confused with the first Scream, which is called Scream. So I am going to try my best and do that as this review goes on. So with that said, what did I think about this movie? I loved it. It is easily my favorite of the Scream sequels since the original. I thought the acting is great. I loved seeing Neve Campbell return as Sidney Prescott. She's just as awesome as she was in the previous four movies. And Courteney Cox as Gale Weathers is once again a delight to watch. I love Courteney Cox on Friends, and I really love her in the Scream movies. So it was really cool to see her come back as this character alongside Neve and Dave Arquette as Dewey, who he is an MVP. He is probably one of the best characters in this movie. There's some really cool stuff that happens with him, and I thought he was such a great character, and David really brought his A game onto this movie. Really great stuff here. And of course, the actors as a whole I thought was really great. Of course, Neve Campbell is great as Sidney here, and Courtney as Gale. But I also loved the newer cast members. We got Melissa Barrera as Sam Carpenter and Jenna Ortega as Tara Carpenter, and Jack Quaid as Richie. So there's a lot more new characters in this movie, and I thought the new cast members were great. I really loved especially Tara and Sam, who are played by Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. So I really enjoyed them a lot because they get a lot of focus in this movie, and I think they were excellent. They truly stood out in this cast, and they were just fantastic, especially when they were all tied into this whole scheme with Ghostface and his return and all of that. I thought they were fantastic. A lot of great acting moments from those two, whether it's with some of the newer characters or whether it's from one of the legacy characters on the movie. And Jack Quaid is also in this movie. You might know him from The Boys and The Hunger Games and all of that. And I do like he's also voicing Superman in an animated show upcoming. But yeah, he's in this movie, and I thought he's great as Richie. And I thought Mikey Madison, she plays Amber. Really like her too. And Dylan Minnette, who I've seen here and there in stuff nowadays. He plays Wes Hicks, and I thought he was great. And Mason Gooding, in his first big screen debut, plays Chad, and I thought he was really great as well. And this is a great first movie to kick off his theater debut with in this movie. In general, I really liked the cast in this movie. The acting was great, especially amongst all of the older characters and the newer characters. And I thought, especially in the more deadly scenes in this movie, I thought they were fantastic. I really enjoyed watching them in the movie. The score by Brian Tyler in this movie, I think, is great. It's very haunting and chilling, and it's so suspenseful because this is a movie that involves Ghostface. And one of the things that I love about the movies is who's the Ghostface killer. And we definitely get a great score here that packs the suspense, and it leaves you just really sitting there on the edge of your seat wondering something bad's going to happen to this character, something's going to happen soon. And the score is just really great from Brian Tyler. And there are some great scores he did, and I think this one is a really great one from him. And just like the other four movies, this is also a very well-paced movie. Like, one of the things I love about the movies is the pacing. The first one, the second one, and even the third and the fourth movies, they're very well-paced. And this one is no different. And even though it's not directed by Wes Craven, rest in peace, he passed away way back in 2015, and the directors made a great movie to honor his memory and his legacy of what he has been able to do with the Scream franchise. And they were able to still make a well-paced movie, just like Wes Craven's 4 Scream movies that he created. And this movie, very much from the beginning of this movie all the way till the moment the credits begin to roll, it's well-paced. I never once felt like I was bored or something was taking too long to happen or scenes were being dragged. No, I thought the movie is very well-paced. And when you're watching a Scream movie, expect a well-paced movie, because this movie definitely is paced well to the point where it leaves you on the edge of your seat. You're excited to see what happens, and it doesn't slow down. And what's a Scream movie without the horror aspect and the kills? Well, this movie does have kills, of course, and they're very brutal kills. There were a lot of moments where I sat there like something bad's gonna happen and I can feel it, and a death happens and I get shocked to the core. They are really dark moments. This has probably some of the most darkest kills in the series, and I thought that they were done really well. It's just, it packs the horror, and it gives you all of the things you love about the Scream movies, and they bring them all back into this one. And never once did I feel like a kill didn't live up to the hype, because this is what they're known for. This is one of the things that works so well within these movies, and the kills here are just, they're brutal to watch. They're dark, but they worked really well in this movie. And this is probably one of the more, I wouldn't say humorous, but there's actually quite a few good, funny moments here and there, not gonna lie. There are some jokes throughout the movie that actually are pretty funny and to hear. And I know it's weird to talk about humor in a movie like Scream, but I genuinely felt like there are some funny moments that happen in this movie that I think they actually land quite well. I love when the Scream movies are very thrilling to the point where I'm just so engaged that I want to see what happens as the movie goes on. And one of the things that this movie does do well is with the twists and the turns and who the reveal is. And when we get to that reveal, which I won't say who, I was shocked. It was very well done, very well executed, and it made sense for the story, because one of the things I heard was that this movie, they had multiple different endings to the point where they could have gone with anyone. So there was a version where almost every few characters was revealed to be Ghostface, but nobody knew which one they're gonna settle with until the movie came out. And it's safe to say that the killer reveal here is truly killer. It actually worked well. It made sense. The story, it shocked me. Like, some of the characters, I thought, wait, what? This person's Ghostface? It really got me, because it was like, oh, they really built up to that well. And I think when it happens, it's great. And it made sense, especially for the story and the characters and the development that's happened throughout the movie. I thought the twists and the turns land so well. It never felt like they're overdoing any twists or they're overdoing a lot of the things the movies are known for. But this movie does it just right, and when they happen, they land. There's a lot of tension to be found in this movie, because one of the things I love about the Scream movies and one of the things I love about horror movies is the tension. And this movie definitely packs a lot of tension and a lot of suspense and a lot of danger, because I would be sitting there. I have a feeling it's like, oh, something's going to happen to this character at some point. I have a bad feeling about it. And how they're done is it's so well, because you feel the danger. You feel all the stakes that are being placed in this movie and how each of these characters are in danger. No one is safe. And this movie definitely executes that very well here. And I genuinely, throughout the movie, just feel like some of these characters are in a really bad place here. I have a bad feeling Ghostface is going to get to them. And I just love when Scream movies are able to do it right, which so far, even with 3, which is my least favorite one, I think I can find some tension here and there. In this movie, this one's intense. One of the biggest aspects of the series is that the Scream movies can be very meta, and therefore they love to critique the horror movie tropes that other movies do, and they just critique a lot of things in general, like how Scream 3 just critiques Hollywood and all that stuff that happens there. And so this one, in a way, actually critiques toxic fandoms in a way that worked. And it deals with what we like to call a requel, which is a sequel that sort of serves as a reboot of sorts. It's not a term that's used very often, but how they're able to use that and incorporate it into the story, I think works. Because one of the things I love about the Scream movies is how meta they get in a way that doesn't feel oversaturated. It doesn't feel on the nose. It is done right, makes sense for the story. And I think this movie is no different when in terms of meta-ness, because they're able to still use it to the point where I get it into a way that doesn't annoy me, and also doesn't feel like they're oversaturating how self-aware it is. And that's what I like here, because it critiques a lot of those things. And when they happen, it's funny because of the movies kind of doing some of those things, but it also works in a way that doesn't feel weird. So I do think this movie is also just something that, and just the social commentary piece of it too, because of how it critiques the toxic fandom side of things, and how it really makes sense, because we live in a world where you might love something like Star Wars or something like Spider-Man, and their fandoms, you'll encounter people who are so rude about these kind of things. And it really works, because sometimes a lot of the reasons they might give about these things when they critique it make sense. And thankfully, the meta-ness and social commentary in this movie did not feel thrown in there for the sake of it. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like it was too upfront about this in a way that feels obvious. But it is very well done here, and I really enjoyed how they were able to do it. If I had any problems with it, they're pretty minor, because I did love this movie. But I would have to say that there are some moments where I wish certain characters interacted, because I loved the old characters in this movie, and especially the newer ones. And there are just times where I feel like I wish we had some interactions between some characters, and that maybe some characterizations could have been a little bit better, even though a majority of them were very well done. But it's not a big problem. I still had a blast with this movie, and it is easily, without a doubt, my favorite of the Scream sequels by far. This is my second favorite movie in the series, behind the original. And it also honors Wes Craven, who, of course, directed the original Scream and 2, 3, and 4. So this movie, in a way, even feels like a love letter and a tribute to both him and the Scream franchise, and I think it's glorious. So yeah, in conclusion, I had a blast with Scream. It's a massive surprise. It's one of the best slasher movies I've seen in years. It does all the things we love about Scream movies, while also giving us some great new characters and some brutal kills and things. And it's also very well done in terms of being self-aware of the outside world and of toxic fandoms and requels and all that. So in the end, I'm going to give Scream 5 an A. And I highly recommend you go see this movie if you are a fan of Scream and the horror genre in general. What did you guys think of Scream 5? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And what is your ranking of all 5 Scream movies from favorite to least favorite? I'd love to hear it down below in the comment section. And yeah, I had a blast with this movie. Definitely my favorite of the Scream sequels, and definitely the best one since the original. And I hope you guys who have seen it enjoy it, and I would hope you guys would go check it out if you can. And thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more.
Samantha? I know who you are. I've been through this a lot. This is your life now, which means that whoever this is going to keep coming for you. You ready for this? Never.